Peter Schumann, the founder of Bread and Puppet Theater, once said, "Our glorious civilization glorifies itself with what it calls high art. Puppeteers have no soul-searching trouble in that respect. What we produce has no ambition to be high art. Low art is what we want and what we make. Not the fine arts, the coarse arts are what we use."
The Bread and Puppet Theater started here in New York City in 1963. Its first productions ranged from puppet shows for children to pieces protesting poor housing conditions. The group's processions, involving monstrous puppets, some about 20 feet high, became a fixture of protests against the Vietnam War. In the early 70s, Bread and Puppet moved to Glover, Vermont, where they transformed a former hay barn into a museum of puppets. Today, Bread and Puppet remains one of the longest-running nonprofit self-supporting theater companies in the United States. It continues to use theater to protest the most urgent political issues of our time, from nuclear weapons to mass spying by the National Security Agency.
The cheap art of Bread and Puppet Theater is in no way art for art's sake, as John Dewey elaborated that concept. For 50 years, Peter Schumann has been highlighting pressing social issues by emphasizing the artistic use of everyday materials, depicting everyday people but in fantastical ways, creating a gateway for the audience's imagination to explore their own role in society. Dewey once said, "We only think when confronted with a problem." The Bread and Puppet Theater seeks to introduce the audience to a problem with, at the same time, spectacle and simplicity. In this way, Bread and Puppet reflects the goals of cultural agency. However, many criticize Bread and Puppet for being too obsessed with certain causes. Dewey also said that, in spite of itself, any movement that thinks and acts in terms of an ism becomes so involved in reaction against other isms that it is unwittingly controlled by them. Is Bread and Puppet too over the top to be effective? Some say yes. But 5 decades of sparking imagination may say otherwise.